My name is Syahmi Husaini bin Kamarulzaman. I'm your host for this session. So this session is a very interesting session and a bit different from the session before, because this session is the speaker is a Generation Y speaker, and he's a very young speaker, and he is a world-renowned speaker that has 13 years of professional speaking experience. At the age of 16 years old, he has set up his own website developing company. And at the age of 17, he had wrote his own book, The World at Your Own Feet, and had published for more than 40,000 copies in just a span of 9 months only. And not only that, he didn't stop at that, and then he set up his own Teentrepreneur board game. So this is a business board game, and it inculcates a financial education on how to learn and manage money, and how to run business, and how to compete with other for teenagers. So he has also developed his own website, online public speaking academy, with a range of courses, and he has also collaborated and contributed a free course, that has 10 stages with present with confidence the 5 simple steps to become a fearless public speaker that you can Google. So our topic tonight is why our vulnerabilities should be seen as an asset. And he will talk about how to control self-doubt and rise above the negative mindset, and that often influences our day-to-day action. And please welcome our Sabirul Islam.
But in the lives of others as well. But there are many stumbling blocks. There are many issues that come throughout lifetime that do not help you prevail or achieve the goals you want to go and achieve, purely on the basis there are too many boundaries. And some of the boundaries are often so controlled by our own mindset that we see our vulnerabilities as something that holds us back. We see our vulnerabilities as a stigma. We see our vulnerabilities as something that is so defining of who we are that society cannot be a part of this, because we lay a brick wall in front of us, and that becomes a problem. What am I talking about? I'm talking about things like negative self-talk. I'm talking about self-esteem, having low self-esteem, some form of fear, or even being an introvert. Things like this have had huge impact on how we develop ourselves as we're growing in this very competitive world. So what I want to share with you is how you overcome this preconceived notion of what is known as self-doubt. That for your own vulnerabilities to shift in mindset, that they're not actually seen as vulnerabilities, but more of an asset that can help you prevail and succeed in life. That's something important, and that's worth sharing, and that's worth for you to know. So I've gone on a journey to be able to understand what led me to this question. When you leave this world, what will you be remembered for? And I'm not talking about a legacy. I'm not talking about being this somebody who's going to have a statue one day and everyone's going to say, great, because of you, we've done this. It's not about that. It's a journey of self-discovery where you break your own wall and you realize what it is that you hold, that missing jigsaw, that piece of the jigsaw that you hold, that society can benefit from, intentionally or unintentionally. It doesn't really matter in terms of how big of a scale you make a difference in this world, but you are unique. You are somebody who has this asset. You are somebody who holds this small piece of puzzle. There are over 7 billion, almost 8 billion people in this world, but there's only one of you, nobody else like you. And when there's only one of you, nobody else like you, doesn't that make us exceptionally unique? No matter how many people there are. So I want you to think in a shift, in a mindset shift, that for you to be able to control self-doubt, for you to be able to learn what is the issues that are holding you back in today's society, in today's world, whether that's education, whether that's a career-driven goal, whether that's actually you see yourself wanting to progress, but there's something holding you back because of who you are and because of the skill set in which you lack. The first and foremost sign that you're able to achieve something or overcome your vulnerabilities is being goal-driven. That even if you have a negative mindset that has these sort of issues saying that I can't do this. I shouldn't do this. I shouldn't be here. Wherever you go, whatever it is you do. And this negative self-talk has such a huge implication because it makes decisions for us. You see, you've gone to an event, for example, and you're about to network with people. But because you're about to network with people you don't know, you're asking yourself, should I really be here? Then these questions turn into statements. I shouldn't be here. And this has a huge issue in our way of thinking because we don't get to open ourselves to building positive relationships. Building positive relationships with people, not just who are like-minded, but people who are different, helps us grow and expand our own sort of network, our own capacity, our own reach, our own knowledge. And they have a huge significance in how we develop and evolve over time. And these are things I learned fairly young, purely on the basis that I was able to explore challenging my own self, that I'm in this world for a specific reason. I'm in this world to be able to make some form of decision, some form of judgment, some form of action that can impact not only myself, but the community I was raised in. Because people look at somebody who is often from the UK, and if you're from other parts of the world, you're looking into the UK and think, oh, you're from the UK, you're pretty well off, you've got opportunities. It's not always like that. Because I grew up in a society, in an environment that was predominantly 95% driven by the Bangladeshi community. People who didn't work. And for me, that was a huge challenging thing to grow up in that sort of environment, in that sort of society. And to think that I want to become a somebody, I want to become an individual. I didn't know where my pathway in life was going. I didn't know who I wanted to become or what I wanted to do. But the idea of exploration is what opened the doors of discovering my passion. Because if somebody says, oh, my passion is to become a public speaker, or my passion is to become an author, my passion is writing a book, whatever it is, even being a pilot, a doctor, that doesn't define passion. That doesn't define who you are or what it is you wish to do. Passion is much more deep rooted, and it goes to the idea of leveraging your own vulnerabilities. And I want to share with you a quick story about growing up in this society, in this environment, that I wanted to one day travel the world because my parents were so stuck in an environment that they could not get out of. And to see the world for what it is, to see the world for what the beautiful aspects of the world that it has, that my parents have only traveled from UK, Bangladesh, UK, and have never seen all the other countries. So it was an ambition, a childhood ambition that I was driven by. How can I see the world? But when I realized that at the age of 11, I was diagnosed with epilepsy, a neurological condition that gives me seizures every now and then, it was a very challenging moment purely on the basis when my doctor told me, Sabirul, you cannot fly, you cannot travel on your own. And I was hampered. I was almost to the point where I came to a breaking point. Like, I want to travel. I want to make a name for myself. Yet I was told at the age of 11, very young, that I cannot become the person that I wanted to be. Even if it meant going on holiday on my own with my friends, I cannot do that. And that became such a big issue in my life. And how can I impact others even if I cannot travel? So I gone through the school academic route, trying to discover what are my strengths, what I can do. And to be honest with you, we are born in such a mindset that the academic system is going to drive us into leading us to a career that one day when we get our degree, after that degree, we're going to get a job. And after we get a job, we are deemed successful. But is that really success? Success is defined differently for different people because you are the definition of your own success. You create it. And if you are left with no opportunity, you create it. Because it is not our abilities that end up defining who we are. It's the choices you make, and the actions you take. So when I decided to run my own business at the age of 14, it was purely on the basis that when I looked a year back, I was fired. I was fired by my cousin a year earlier. I was 13 years old when I worked for him, only for 2 weeks. And he sent a letter through my home post saying nothing else but, Dear Sabirul Islam, you're fired. To be hired and fired by my own cousin at the age of 13, 2 years after getting the information that I cannot travel, things were looking very bleak. Why I was fired, I still don't have an idea. But what happened was that taking on board these negative criticism, taking on board the moments of failure, moments of rejection, I questioned myself, am I good enough? Am I good enough for this world when the world is constantly putting barriers, limitations in front of me? And we all face these issues, and we can either choose to face it head on, or we hide behind our own wall of self-doubt. And our self-esteem then falls so low that we then question our own self and say, I really can't. This world isn't for me. And then these are the elements that create fear in our mindset. And this becomes a vulnerability. That when you start to question yourself more and more in a negative mindset rather than in a positive, and then you change it from really, can I do this, to I can do this, or I shouldn't be here, to I should be here. All of these, just a shift in mentality makes a huge difference. So I ran my own business at the age of 14, purely on the basis to prove my cousin wrong. I ran it for 2 years. It was a website designing business. But the journey that I went through, it was such a rewarding experience that a year or so later, when I was 17 years old, I wrote my own book called The World at Your Feet. And The World at Your Feet was a breakthrough in terms of identifying what is possible. That the power of writing, the power of an information product, that when you have knowledge, because we all have ideas, we all have creativity, we all have something in our mind that it's worth sharing with others. A lot of people do it now through social media posts. They share a motivational quote, they share an image, they put a few statements here and there. But when you have an idea and you've gone through a journey and you put that into words and then you publish it, it becomes such a powerful tool, not just for yourself, but for others as well. So this book went on to sell 42,500 copies in 9 months, and it opened the doors for public speaking. And I go back in my life and I ask myself, Sabirul, did you see yourself becoming a public speaker or a professional public speaker from the age of 17? No. That's my answer. No, I did not. Is public speaking your passion? Is writing a book your passion? Is a business your passion? No. But I discovered the means and the medium of my passion, which is to inspire others through the medium of public speaking. So you go through multiple journeys in life. You learn things about yourself that unveil new skills, new talent, new abilities that prevails, helps you prevail over certain vulnerabilities, helps you overcome certain bad habits that you have. For example, when I talk about bad habits, I'm talking about a lot of people love to watch movies, Netflix, go to the cinema, enjoy whatever it is they do. But when you take one bad habit and you replace it with another good habit, for example, I started reading. The more and more I read, for every bad habit that I gave up, the more and more I read, the more knowledge I ascertained and the more knowledge I captured that way, I was able to share with people. And that was a huge, huge stepping stone for me. So when I turned around 20 years old, I started traveling, and how I was able to travel is purely on the basis that I was invited to go to an event in Nigeria. Although I was epileptic, I took my uncle with me as a first step that I can do it. You know, the shifting the mindset that I can do it. Even if my doctor told me I shouldn't travel on my own, I can do it, because I built up courage. I built up that ability that no matter who tells me what, I define my own life. And I want you to be able to have that ability to be able to define your own life and to define where you go. So I was invited by. Let me take a step back. I actually was when I published my book, I paid around £600 to be on a magazine which went out to universities across the UK. And this magazine was, I thought, would be my breakthrough in getting the book recognized. But for 6 months, I heard absolutely nothing. And all of a sudden, I receive a phone call 6 months later. I receive a phone call from someone you would not expect to receive a phone call from. I receive a phone call from the former First Lady of Nigeria, the president's wife. The president's wife gives me a phone call and says, Sabirul, I've read your article in this magazine. I found it so inspiring. I'd like to invite you to fly over to Nigeria to inspire 3,500 young Nigerians. It completely blew me away. It completely blew me away to the point that I can't travel. I shouldn't travel. I all of a sudden started sinking in my own self-doubt that all of these things my doctor told me, all of these things about my medical condition started eating away. When I took a deep breath and before accepting the invitation, spoke to my parents, spoke to the people around me that I can do it, have to have trust, have to have belief, have to have faith in your own self to be able to achieve whatever it is you want to achieve. I accepted the invitation, took my uncle, flew over to Nigeria. And this was a big breakthrough purely on the basis that I was able to step foot in another country for the first time and achieve a goal, achieve a childhood ambition to one day travel the world because my parents could not. And when I landed in Lagos airport, the first step I took outside the airport, I was looking up. And the first thing I saw when I stepped out of the airport in Lagos was a massive billboard with my face on it, saying nothing else but "Welcome to Nigeria, Sabirul." I felt like a celebrity in a country I've never been to. And it was such a rewarding experience to see how much people buy into the message, how much people buy into you because they believe in the ideology, they believe in the characterization, they believe in the personality, they believe in the message you carry to inspire others. And having delivered this talk, what changed my life was a young Nigerian came flying over to London about 6 to 9 months later on a random Sunday morning. I didn't know who he was. On a random Sunday morning, he comes flying over to London just to knock on my door and shake my hand and say the words, "Sabirul, you have changed my life." And I was absolutely gobsmacked. I was shocked that a young Nigerian would go through that effort just to shake my hand and say, "Sabirul, you've changed my life." And that's when that question struck me. When you leave this world, what will you be remembered for? Because that feeling of excitement, that feeling of passion, that feeling of giving to serve, the feeling of wanting to serve others and the impact it has on another person's life, I discovered my true passion. I discovered my calling, even though I had boundaries, even though I was fired by my cousin, even though I was diagnosed with an illness, even though I was told that I cannot travel, even though I could not achieve a childhood dream because of these boundaries that were set. But when you leverage your own vulnerabilities and then you see them as an asset and something that's not holding you back, you are able to fight your own cause. And not only that, you get to make an impact on somebody else's life. And that broadened the picture for me. That how can I, if I can go to a country like Nigeria and make a difference, what is stopping me from living my childhood ambition and going around the world? But not just going around the world and making a difference, inspiring others, because that's where I found my calling. That's where I found my passion. You see? So when I turned 20, I set up the Inspire 1 Million campaign, a journey to be able to go to as many countries as possible in the shortest space of time. Within the space of 4 years, I traveled to 31 countries 84 times and inspired over 1 million people in audience size. And all of this happened purely on the basis to have that belief, the courage, and to form what's called discipline. Discipline is so important. Why? Because how do you shape discipline? Discipline is about character. Discipline is about the attitude. Discipline is about the behavior in which you present yourself. Because I could have easily said to myself, this life is not for me. This world is not for me. That I don't want to be seen as this unique individual who can do something positive, who can make a difference, who can live and fulfill life. I rather stay in the matrix in which school, college, university, getting a degree, getting a job, and then being satisfied with what the world provides me in 20 years' time, I take it. But when you go down that path, I'm not saying it's wrong, fine, but go down that path if that's your intention. Go down that path if that's what is your form of success. So you create your own success and you define your own success. And for you to be able to live in that attitude and mentality that you are happy with what you've done in this world, in this lifetime, you need to create your own pattern. And that's how you leverage your own vulnerabilities. And that is what holds you accountable. Because all of these things I do all happened through individual elements of trying, testing, failing. Because if you were to tell me going back when I turned 14, running my business for 2 years, is business my calling? Is business my true calling? Is business my passion? No, running a business wasn't my true calling, but running a business helped me discover the opportunity to write a book because of the knowledge I gained. And I want you to be able to do the same. That if you're going through a pathway in life and you fail, you make a mistake, or you feel it's not for you, don't feel afraid that you are stuck by it and this is the only route in life. You learn from it, you capture knowledge. That knowledge can become vital at a certain stage in your life, at a later stage in your life, whether it's through writing, whether it's through other career pathways, whatever it is you do. All of these have a significant impact. So I want you to take on board these thoughts, these ideas. So let me go back to that original question. When you leave this world, what will you be remembered for? Remember, I'm not talking about leaving behind a legacy. I'm not talking about being a Nelson Mandela or or anybody who's been such a great iconic figure in the past. I'm talking about being somebody who lives up to their own name, lives up to feeling happy and satisfied with who you are and what it is you represent. And I want to leave you with something I call the 7 Ps, because these are the ways in which you're able to overcome your vulnerabilities and see your own vulnerabilities as an asset. First and foremost is positivity, the mindset. It all starts here, not just with self belief, not just with the positive attitude, but with the mindset to say that, yes, I can do this. And so you avoid turning questions such as, can I do this, into I can't do this, to thinking, yes, I can. And all of these simple elements have crucial factors in how you behave and the impact you create. Second is about passion, your calling. What makes you happy? And remember, passion isn't associated with a specific career, it's a journey. The journey to discovering your passion, and often comes from within, the journey of self discovery, because passion can be explored through many mediums. And sometimes to find your true calling and to sometimes achieve your passion and to define your success, you have to do things you don't love at the same time, certain things that make you unhappy. For example, public speaking, for example, inspiring others means there's a business behind it. I'm not 100% entrepreneur or a business person, but I have to run the business behind it in order to be able to fulfill my passion. Perseverance, the 3 P. Perseverance, hard work. Your hard work defines you. Your hard work is what you strive towards day in, day out. And that's what leads to persistence, the 4th P. Persistence, you keep trying, no matter how hard it is, no matter how much you fail, you keep going. They keep that positive attitude and you keep going. Next is purpose, the 5th P. With purpose, you live life with meaning. It tells a story. That story can one day inspire others. And that's the whole idea, that you are not just another statistic in this world. You have value, you have meaning. Find that meaning. What is it? Ask yourself, put it on a piece of paper, write about it. What have you explored? What have you achieved? What do you want to achieve? Where do you see your life going? What directions? These create so many strands, so many opportunities, and it's only you who can help discover that. And that leads to patience. The 6th P, patience. It takes time. Nothing happens overnight. And remember, the most powerful and most important thing you have around you is the 7th P, people. The power of people, leveraging and building positive relationships. When you build positive relationships, not just like-minded people, not just positive-minded people, but people of different cultures, people of different meaning, different backgrounds, you expand your own career. And I launched something, for example, public speaking became such a pivotal part in my journey because it helped me discover my medium, my passion, that I want you to be able to do the same. So I launched what's called Build Your Confidence on Stage, which is an online public speaking academy. And one of the courses that I put on there is a free course for anybody looking to harness their public speaking skills, called Present with Confidence, the 5 simple steps to become a fearless public speaker. It's a 30-minute free course for anybody who wants to enroll. And it's an online academy, so there are hundreds of students who have already enrolled, no matter how old you are, because public speaking is something that a lot of people are afraid of, no matter how professional you are in your working environment. If you're looking to harness your public speaking skills, I would encourage you to enroll by visiting www.buildyourconfidenceonstage.com. You can also find out about, just from searching about me on Facebook or on LinkedIn as well, Sabirul Islam. So all of these things, these are all journeys that I've gone through. And for me, it's been one of the most profound and most iconic moments in my life that I was able to go down a path that purely on the basis I was able to leverage my own vulnerabilities. I didn't see them as a weakness. Initially, I may have, but I was able to overcome it. And I want you to be able to have that similar mentality. So I hope I've inspired you all to bring the world at your feet. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Sabirul Islam, for for your speech. And we appreciate and we thank you for your presence and your lecture. I would like to invite all of you, our dear viewers, if you feel that this session is beneficial, please donate and click the link below. And we shall have our questions. If there are any questions from our viewers, our Mr. Sabirul Islam will answer. So, Mr. Sabirul Islam, so you will be launching your new book. What is the title of your book?
Yeah,
and
so the new
what is it
book is
about?
yeah, so the new book comes out on December 17th, called Build Your Confidence on Stage. It is linked to the online public speaking academy. And it talks about the four pillars of public speaking. First and foremost is the speaker psychology, how you're able to shape the mindset to have the attitude of a speaker. Next talks about the principles of public speaking, so exactly the industry background, how it operates, how it works. The third element is the performance masterclass, helping to shape you to become an effective public speaker who can have not only great speeches on stage, but also genuine conversations with people. And the fourth and most important element is the profession side. So the profession of a public speaker, how you can actually turn the passion for public speaking into a lifestyle profession, because that is ultimately the business I run. Earning through public speaking, and it's a great opportunity that sometimes people have so much knowledge and information which when they present on stage they don't know how to convert that into a lifestyle business. So the idea is to take individuals who are passionate about the world of public speaking to learn and help nurture them, not only through the book, but through the online course. And as I say, there's a free online course available called Present with Confidence when you go onto www.buildyourconfidenceonstage.com. We've got hundreds of students who are already enrolled on the course, and we've got a new one coming out early next year, which is linked to the book as well in terms of the step-by-step process and how to set up your own business, a lifestyle business as a public speaker.
So, our dear viewers, that anyone can be someone that you aspire to be. That even if you are not from a well-off family, and if you have a sickness, any kind of sickness, like Mr. Sabirul Islam, he believed in himself, and he changed and shift his mindset. And no matter who tell you what you should do, you define your own life and where you should go. And you have to believe in yourself that you're able to achieve it. And be someone that people that can call you changed my life. So please give us the summary of your session tonight, and we have but 3 more minutes left.
I just want to round up the idea that, again, it's all about you. It's all about you and the impact you create. And the question that I asked was, when you leave this world, what will you be remembered for? It's always important to carry that with you. As I say, it's not about the legacy. It's not about the importance of how much of a success you personally become, but the impact you create. I connected it with there's about 7 or 8 billion people in this world. And you are a small piece of that jigsaw. But when you see yourself as this tiny piece of the jigsaw, you will always impact your self-esteem, or it will be low. But when you see yourself as a tiny piece of jigsaw who is unique, who is different than the rest of the world, then you hold something. You hold an asset that the world has yet to discover. So it is up to you to make yourself that you are aware of who you are, what your skill set are, and what it is you can provide the rest of the world. And only then does the rest of the world come chasing after you. And that's when your value rises. And that's when it is you can make a mark, make a difference, even if it is on a small scale in your local community, because people look up to you, people want to be like you. And I'm not talking fame, I'm not talking money-wise, I'm just talking about character. I'm just talking about representation, because influence is such a big factor in today's society, that to be a person of influence, even if you come up with an idea, people buy into that because of who you are. And that all happens by being goal-driven, building positive relationships, and through leveraging your own vulnerabilities. So I want you to be able to take that away with you and ask yourself this question: when you leave this world, what will you be remembered for? Because it should be your push in terms of how you find and discover your passion that can one day impact others.
Thank you, Mr. Sabirul Islam, and we appreciate your lecture, and we thank you for your presence and your lecture.
Thank you very much. Absolute pleasure.